Hi, I'm Brooke, and welcome to another Brooke review. So tonight I'm going to be reviewing Uncommon Criminals by Ali Carter. And this is the sequel to a book called Heist Society, but I'm reviewing only the second book because it can stand alone, and personally I enjoyed this book much better than the first, but I'll get into that. So this book is a mystery. Uncommon Criminals is about a girl named Katerina Bishop and her family. They are thieves. They are actually thieves. And in the first book, you kind of learn that Katerina, they call her Kat, is not interested in thieving anymore, but by the time she gets to this book, she is interested only in thieving in order to return something to its rightful owner. And her family mostly steals paintings. They're interested in historical paintings. So paintings that were lost or have never been found before, that's what they specialize in. And what I really love about this book is that it's such a cool topic, and I've always kind of had a thing for like mysteries and spies, and I've always wondered what it would be like to read a book from the villain's perspective. And although Kat is not a villain, it is kind of interesting to read from a thief's perspective. So that's pretty cool. So I'm going to give you a brief description of the book, and then I'm going to read the inside cover. So here we go. Katerina Bishop, like I said before, is a girl who she's actually only 15 years old, but she steals paintings and returns them to their rightful owners. So I thought that was pretty interesting. And she has a best friend named Hale who has always stood by her. She has kind of a team throughout this book, and her team includes Hale, her best friend, her cousin Gabrielle, and then her two other cousins, but I forget their names. But they are the Bagshaws. That's their last name. And in this book, Kat is contacted by this elderly woman who tells her that her family actually found the Cleopatra emerald, but it was stolen by someone that was a part of their archaeological group. So she asks Kat to help her find this emerald and to get it back so she can restore her family's fortune. And she doesn't want her parents to have died in vain. So Kat, who can't resist this challenge, is able to steal this emerald only to realize that she was conned, that it was all a scam, that it was all a trick. And so the whole book unravels after that, and every chapter, it's pretty cool. There are different parts. It will say something like one day before the emerald arrives. So the book is kind of in bits and pieces as they put together their mission and their plan and actually go to accomplish these feats. But it was a really cool book, and I'm now going to read you the inside cover. Katerina Bishop has worn a lot of labels in her short life: friend, niece, daughter, thief. But for the last 2 months, she's simply been known as the girl who ran the crew that robbed the greatest museum in the world. That's why Kat isn't surprised when she's asked to steal the infamous Cleopatra emerald so it can be returned to its rightful owners. There are only 3 problems. First, the gem hasn't been seen in public in 30 years. Second, since the fall of the Egyptian Empire and the suicide of Cleopatra, no one who holds the emerald keeps it for long, and in Kat's world, history almost always repeats itself. But it's the third problem that makes Kat's crew the most nervous, and that is, the emerald is cursed. Kat might be in way over her head, but she's not going down without a fight. After all, she has her best friend, the gorgeous Hale, and the rest of her crew with her as they chase the Cleopatra around the globe, dodging curses and realizing that the same tricks and cons her family has used for centuries are useless this time. Which means, this time, Katerina Bishop is making up her own rules. So she steals this emerald, and then she kind of has to steal it back. And something she has to learn along the way is that she can't do everything on her own. And so at the beginning, you kind of see that she's become a little bit prideful, not completely arrogant, but a little bit too sure of herself. And so it kind of takes this, she has to be conned in order to realize that she's not invincible and that anything can go wrong. So this is a passage of the book that they printed on the back, and I'm going to read that to you. So, "You're a smart girl, Katerina. Too smart to take stupid chances. Better thieves than you have gone after that blasted stone, and they have paid." Uncle Eddie stopped, and Kat could have sworn she saw his hand shake. His lips were a thin, hard line when he whispered, "Great thieves have paid dearly." Kat's voice was different when she said, "I know." "We do not steal the Cleopatra, Katerina. It is—" Eddie trailed off, struggling for words. "Cursed?" Kat offered. Eddie turned to her. He shook his head. "Forbidden." Now I have one more passage that I want to share with you, something that kind of has to do with the lesson that Kat had to learn. So, "I'm not you." Had Kat thought the words, or had she said them? She wasn't really sure, and she didn't really care. She would have been just as happy to shout it from the rooftops. "I won't ever be like you." "Oh, really?" Maggie said. "Yeah," Kat said slowly, then turned to look out at the people who surrounded the walls. Some tourists, some protesters carrying signs about artifacts and raiders and returning to Egypt the emeralds it had borne. "I will never be heartless or greedy or—" "I'm not you," Kat said again, the realization shining on her like the sun. "Oh," Maggie almost laughed. "And how are we so different?" 1,000 reasons flooded Kat's mind, but there was only one that really mattered. "Because I'm not in this alone." So, I think the author's intent was to please kind of intrigue the reader. There's a bit of history in the book. I'm not sure if all of the historical facts are true, but it was still really interesting to read, so that's a plus. So, so I'd list that as a pro, definitely. Also, like I said about perspective, this is pretty cool to read about the thieves, how they accomplished this. It's kind of like normally thieves are the bad guys, and so I thought it was pretty cool, and just the teamwork that's involved with the characters, and also the way it was written. It was very intense the entire time, even it wasn't very action-packed at the moment. There was always kind of like a dark cloud hanging over their heads, and it was kind of like, I actually read this one morning before lunchtime, so it was so good that I wanted to keep reading, and so I definitely recommend it. You could read the first book if you wanted to. That one I didn't enjoy as much, and I don't really know why, because I haven't read the book in a while, but I did want to read this one, and I was very, very happy with it. So my cons would be, let's see, sometimes I thought it was a little too intense. Like, I liked the intensity, but I felt like it needed to be broken up a little every now and then with some lightheartedness. But hey, I read the book in one morning, so it obviously was very good. And I'm trying to think of my other cons. Sometimes it can be just a little bit confusing. Not confusing as in like I couldn't really keep track, but sometimes I'd kind of have to reread a sentence or two before I went, oh, I understand now. So I just thought some of the writing was a little bit kind of, you kind of had to reread it to really understand it. But overall, I would give this book a Brooke mark of 3.5. So definitely on the higher side of my rating, 1 being the lowest and 5 being the highest. So thanks for watching, and comment below and tell me what you think, or if you've read this book, or what your opinion was. And check out my blog, which is www.brookeharrison.com. I'll link it below. But on my blog you can find out more about me, more about the books that I've written, and more written book reviews. So thanks for watching. Bye.